Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're in the World of Juice channel, and welcome back to another episode of the Dallas Cowboys all-decade rebuild here on Madden 23. And it's finally time. We got through our first season. We made it to the playoffs. We did the entire playoffs, and we won a Super Bowl in the first season. But that's not the most exciting part, because everybody's favorite episodes of any series is always the off season, because those are where the majority of the moves are made, and that's where the future of your franchise is decided. So today is our day. It is the off season of year one. And I have a feeling that there are probably going to be some pretty big moves. Now, the draft in a series like this, I've talked about this on plenty of other videos in this series so far. The draft in a series like this is not as important as it would be in, say, like the Barons or the Cougars was. Because in a series like this, when you inject all of this extra talent that we have, like all of these legends from the 2010s, then it just adds so many more opportunities to bring in good players, and then the players that normally would be fairly difficult to trade for in a regular series tend to be a little bit easier, not too much, but a little bit easier to trade for in a series like this. So then that adds just many more opportunities to get good players on your team, and then those draft picks become tradable, and you don't necessarily need to draft younger players in the draft. And mainly that's one big reason, but the majority reason is in a series like this, you want to expose the players, you want to get more exposure for the players that you don't normally see. So let's say I trade for Randy Moss or Reggie Wayne or anybody, Drew Brees, let's just say, just naming some random players from this era. If you were to trade for those guys, that just adds more people that you guys maybe haven't seen in Madden yet, and it's more interesting to see those guys than it is to see some random auto-generated rookie. So that's basically why I personally feel like the draft isn't as important of a feature in a series like this, because you want to see, you're not here for the draft picks, you're here for the title of the video, which is the 2010 rebuild. So you want to see the legends from that era on the teams and not necessarily draft. You may still want to see the draft picks, and I'm not going to trade away all my draft picks. I may still draft some people just to have, but the draft picks aren't necessarily as valuable to me as they would be in, say, the Barons. So that's basically what I'm getting at with that explanation. So today is the off season. We're going to do renegotiations, we're going to do trades, we're going to do the draft, we're going to do a bunch of stuff, free agency. All that stuff is in today's episode. I hope you guys do go and enjoy it. If you do, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's get started. Here we are. It is the off season. We're about to begin, but first we got to take a look at the season recap. I don't know if we did it at the end of last episode. I think we did, but just one more thing just to kind of refresh it. So Cooper Kupp wins the Offensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt's Defensive Player of the Year, Andre Johnson and Gerard Mayo are the Defensive and Offensive Rookies of the Year, Andrew Luck wins the MVP, even though it probably should have been Adrian Peterson, Mike McDaniel, our coach, wins Coach of the Year, and we obviously win the Super Bowl, and Earl Thomas is your Super Bowl MVP, even though it's probably either Adrian Peterson or who's the defensive guy that made the big play? Is it Patrick Peterson? No, it's not Patrick Peterson. I forget who it was at this point. I don't know. It's been a couple days since I recorded that video. We probably already did that, but it might as well just go over it again. All right, so let's go to the next week. Let's go to the re-sign period. Now, Jason Peters is the only one that might get traded, and I think I might do that right off the bat here once we get able to. So we do have to fill a staff spot. So our offense and defense coordinators went on to new jobs. Very interesting. Can we hire a head coach as our offensive defensive coordinator? I don't think we can. We'll just sign these guys. It's not a big deal. This guy runs KC Playbook on the offense. That's not too good. I mean, we do have Patrick Peterson, so it's not the end of the world if we had to run that. Let's sign him. Let's sign Matthew Hamilton. I didn't mean to click his thing. Let's sign Matthew Hamilton as our new offensive coordinator, and our defensive coordinator can be, I don't know, I feel like I always go for Sammy Rios, so we'll go for somebody else. I don't know. Nathaniel Hackett, Todd Bowles' playbook. I mean, this guy runs Mike McDaniel's defensive playbook, and we have Mike McDaniel as our head coach, so we might as well hire him. And we have some points to spend now, and we will spend them on our coordinators instead of on our other stuff. So we'll do that. Make sure that we can activate the the X factors. That's pretty important. And then I want to boost the right side of this tree, so we'll go down there, spend a little bit there, and I probably want to boost the right side as well. Yeah, let's boost the right side for the defensive coordinator. Go down the tree. Bada bing, bada bang. Spend on that. Get that all good. And then I want to get to the strength, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because I have to buy this. Oh, okay, I can. I can get the weight room for the offensive lineman. That's a pretty big one that you always want to try to get. And then we should go down. Boost the carrying for quarterbacks is not a big thing. Let's go down the left side of this part of the tree because we might be able to get, yes we can, the boost the release for the wide receivers. That's actually pretty massive. Okay, so we did a little bit more on the offensive coordinator than the defensive coordinator, but we'll get those staff points back up. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we hired the coordinators. Players ready to negotiate. We have some money, but money's not really a big issue. Jason Peters is the guy that I'm still curious about. I think that we are going to trade him away. Now, I don't know what his market is. He could have nobody interested in him. That's a very good possibility, but he is a very good player. He is a little bit older, though. So we'll just go down the list and see what kind of left tackles are on the market. So there's obviously Trent Williams, who would be fantastic, but he's probably pretty hard to get. Jake Long, Taylor Decker, Dwayne Brown, Mekhi Becton. I'm not going to get anybody sub 90, I wouldn't think. Not even probably somebody sub 95 if I have the opportunity. Joe Staley is an option. Andrew Whitworth. Jordan Gross is even an option. Donald Penn could be one. I know that they're sub 90, but they could grow into something else. Tyron Smith might be our best option because he's 22. Teron Armstead is also 22. DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Ronnie Stanley. Let's try to get Tyron Smith. What team was he on? He was on the... Was it the Panthers? No. What team was he on? The Rams? Ravens? He was on the Saints. Okay, let's try to get Tyron Smith. Now, I don't know if this is going to go through straight up. I wouldn't think it would. It's middle of the pack, a little bit. So we'll throw in... They need a right tackle. Do I have an extra right tackle I don't want to use? We have Josh Jones. Does that bump the value up? Not really. They want a right guard, but I don't think I have any right guard depth. Nah, nothing that... excuse me. Nothing that they would want. What about left outside linebacker? We have Bruce Irvin and Terrell Suggs. Do they want Bruce Irvin, maybe? They do want Bruce Irvin, but that doesn't really even do anything. So this might have to be a spot where we throw a draft pick in there. We have 2 second-round picks, and the second-round picks don't do a whole lot. Maybe we need to go for a team that has at least green interest in Jason Peters. That might help us out a little bit. So Tyron Smith will be off the board. Who has green interest in us? Steelers and Texans do. So if we go to their left tackle spot, they have Teron Armstead, and the Texans have David Bakhtiari. So let's try to get Teron Armstead. So green for green, and Peters is a higher overall. He's 94. So this could just go through straight up, and it will. So we send Jason Peters to the Steelers. We get back Teron Armstead. I hope that was a good move. I don't know what his contract looks like. Is Teron Armstead under contract? I should have checked that before we traded for him. Let's just sort by overall. All right, where is Teron Armstead? He was a 90-something. There he is. He's okay. He just signed a big deal. He's under contract for 3 seasons, so that's perfect. We are good to go on him. We don't have a penalty on him either. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine with him. He's good to go. So that's really the only big trade we have to make right now. We can wait till free agency to see what else we want to do. I just want to see who the free agents are. So there shouldn't be anybody major in free agency because we adjusted everybody's age at the beginning of this franchise. So anybody that's retiring here doesn't really matter to the series as a whole. So that's a big thing. All right, let's go to the first stage of free agency and hope that there is some good players available. Signed free agents, $36 million in cap space. And we've got some decent players. The MVP of the league, Andrew Luck, is in free agency as a quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Phillip Rivers, Joe Flacco. There's some good players in free agency, at least in the quarterback spot. We're not going to be able to get Andrew Luck. Mainly, we don't need him because we have Patrick Mahomes. But he has no interest in being here, and he's got 11 teams interested. So I'm not going to spend my money on him. But running backs, we have Adrian Peterson, who's coming off of the greatest season in NFL history. So it's not like we absolutely need to get a running back. But to have a backup like a Matt Forte could be pretty interesting. I wouldn't hate having Matt Forte on the squad, especially if we can get him for a little bit cheaper. I don't need him on a crazy deal or anything. A 3-year contract wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and we are ahead of the Colts. That's awesome. If we go to wide receivers, we've got a really good wide receiver core, and there's not really anybody here that impresses me. Tight ends, everybody's interested in being here at the tight end spot, but I'm not really interested in any of you guys. Offensive linemen, I guess if anything, it's just backups at this point. Clint Bowling, he's kind of interesting, but he's got 8 offers. Leon Eichenberg, I mean, it's not even really worth it to go after these guys because they've got interest. I guess Matt Paradis, because he's got no offers to be a backup center. That's always nice. Always nice to have a backup center. There's not really anybody at the right guard spot. Orlando Brown is here, but he's not really interested, and I'm not really interested in him, at least not right now. Lamar Houston, Larry Ogunjobi, the beast out of Charlotte. Grady Jarrett, okay. That's a big X factor. That might be, maybe that's our big money signing. I don't know. If we sign him, then we don't really have a lot of money left to... Ooh, Jarrell Casey. Okay, so there's some good pass rushers, that's for sure. Frankie Louvu. Is there anybody that would make me reconsider? There's a couple good corners. Marcus Peters, Jonathan Joseph. Couple good corners. Let me take a look at the squad. Let me take a look and see if we need anything on defense like that. Because I know we have Aaron Donald, obviously. So let's go to the defensive side of things. So, corner. Okay, so we still have Dietrich Wise. We have Robert Quinn. The corner spot would probably be a little bit more useful than anything else. If we brought in Marcus Peters or Jonathan Joseph to add to the squad, that might be the best use of our money because we don't necessarily need the pass rusher. Who was it? I forget who it was at this point. But if we go to corner and we go for one of these two guys, I feel like going after Jonathan Joseph is the better of the two options. So if we offer him a neutral contract, that puts us way ahead of that. So that's awesome. And then maybe we go after... We probably just save the money because I know that we don't have a whole lot of it left. Kicker, we have Adam Vinatieri, so we don't need a kicker. Punter, we don't need a punter. We shouldn't need a quarterback. I think we just go for what we got. So we'll go to our top 100, offering Jonathan Joseph, Matt Forte, and Matt Paradis. Let's see what happens here. Evaluate that. So only the whatchamacallit guy, Jonathan Joseph, does sign. That's awesome. So we add another good corner to the team. Matt Forte is battling... Or we're battling with a couple teams for Matt Forte. I wouldn't be super upset if we didn't get Matt Forte. Matt Paradis, I kind of want, but he's kind of expensive. We'll see how it goes. We'll go back to our targeted, and we'll see what happens. They both sign, and we get them both. Okay, so we signed Matt Paradis. We signed Matt Forte. So we get a backup center, which is good. We get another running back to go alongside Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell. So we have C.J. Spiller, Matt Forte. So now we can move C.J. Spiller probably. And now the corner spot looks a little bit better because now we add Jonathan Joseph to what we already had with Jimmy Smith as a backup. So I like that a lot. We could, I guess, use another strong safety, but that's not the end of the world. There are a few people that I'm looking to probably trade. I'm probably going to trade a receiver just to get some fresh receivers in there. And then we probably look to trade Bruce Irvin and maybe Dietrich Wise, see what we kind of can get from them. So let's go take a look at the trade market. Let's go look at the trade market. We'll throw out Bruce Irvin as the first guy on the board. Not Terrell Suggs, Bruce Irvin. He was going to be a part of that offensive tackle trade. So right now, if we just traded him straight up in the trading block, there are some interesting offers here, but nobody that really pops out at me. Not really feeling any of that. Okay. So we might have to make our own trade. And what do we need? We need a right outside linebacker. That's what we need. I think that's what Bruce Irvin was playing. So let's see what we can get at right outside linebacker. Kayvon Thibodeau, Shaquille Barrett, Pete Werner, Josh Allen, James Harrison. I'm going to try to lean towards more of the created guys, the legends. That's because that's what the series is about. So let's try to see what we can get. Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney would be cool, and he probably wouldn't be super difficult to get. Lance Briggs would be cool. Lance Briggs doesn't cost much either. Alden Smith. Ooh, Alden Smith would be really good to get. How hard is he to trade for? They have green interest in him. Okay, that's probably going to be too difficult to get. We could throw a first-round pick in there. Probably even it would take 2 first-round picks to get a guy of Alden Smith's value. But a guy like maybe Thomas Davis, a guy like Clowney obviously would be pretty good. Clay Matthews would be awesome, but he might still be on that level of a little bit too hard to get. Tamba Ali could be cool. I'm kind of on this Jadeveon Clowney kick. I think that Jadeveon would be really cool to have on the team, but he might be too difficult to get. I didn't think he was going to be too hard, but I guess he might be. We don't really have any tight end options that I'm willing to give up. Right end, no, not Robert Quinn. Strong safety, no. It's just draft picks, really, is all I'd be willing to give up. We could throw in a second-round pick, but that's probably not going to do anything. It moves it up a little bit. Jadeveon's not going to be the guy, which makes me think that these other guys are going to be difficult to get too. Tamba is pretty difficult. I don't think we're going to get anybody since Bruce Irvin's such a low overall, I don't think that we're going to be able to get anybody in the 90s. Ooh, but we can bring in Lance Briggs. Okay, so Lance Briggs is a possibility, but we'll go through the rest of these guys and kind of see what our other options are. Who else is semi-easy to trade for? What about James Harrison? Is James Harrison easy to trade for? He is not, so he's along those same 90 lines. Thomas Davis Sr. probably would be simpler to get. Devondre Cable, Rashawn Gary. Okay, we're back to the guys like Lance Briggs. I think Lance Briggs is our best option. Let's try to go get him. Let's try to go get Lance Briggs, add him to the squad, trade for a third-round pick, or add a third-round pick in there. They almost accept it, but they probably will accept it if I throw in another third-round pick from next season, and it's declined, so it probably gets done with a second-round pick next year. Oh, it's almost done. So I'll throw in a 5th-round pick this year, and that gets done. So Bruce Irvin, a 2nd-round pick next year, and a 5th-round pick this year gets us Lance Briggs on the team. So that's awesome. We add a new right outside linebacker to help the team out. And then what did I say? Probably, Dietrich Wise was another guy that I was interested maybe in trading for, or trading away. So we'd have to go to the left ends and see what we could get back in return. Who's here? So Dietrich Wise is a little bit of a higher overall, so that's good. So that we can kind of level up and get maybe a higher overall player in return. Justin Tuck would be cool. Julius Peppers obviously would be fantastic. That's the team that we played in the Super Bowl. Julius Peppers would be amazing to have on the team, but I don't think it's going to happen. It'd probably take 2 first-round picks, and I don't even think that would get it done. We probably have to wait till he's a free agent, if he even becomes a free agent at any point. What's his contract looking like? So, I wonder who they replaced him with. So his contract is 2 years left. Okay, so at some point he'll be a free agent unless he signs an extension, which is possible. Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Jerry Hughes, DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Bennett, J.J. Watt's too hard to get. I'm kind of feeling one of the Bosa brothers, actually. Let's try to get Joey. Dietrich for Joey is probably a little too hard. I'll throw in a second-round pick from this season if I can get to it. There we go. It's probably going to take a first-round pick to get Joey. I don't think it's necessary to throw in a first-round pick. Myles Garrett's going to be too hard. Nick Bosa's too expensive. So the Bosa brothers are probably out the door. We could try to get Jerry Hughes. That would be an interesting one. Yannick Ngakoue, Carlos Dunlap. I don't know. Robert Mathis. We could see what Robert Mathis could do for us. I mean, it's not that far off of a overall. 86 to 90 is not crazy. Not a crazy difference. A second and third's not going to get it done, but it does push us into the orange. Robert Mathis is probably off the table, considering these guys aren't technically off the table, but just for what I'm willing to trade, which is just Dietrich Wise plus probably some draft picks, he's probably off the table. So that probably eliminates a lot of people as well. Justin Tuck. Justin Tuck is only one overall higher. It'd be cool to have him on the team. Trade declined, but we can throw in, I don't know, like a 6th-round pick this year. That probably gets it done. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, maybe a 4th-round pick that probably gets it done. No, it doesn't. Okay, so a 4th-round pick and then a 5th-round pick next year. Does that get it done? It does. So we trade Dietrich Wise to the Bucks, along with a 4th-rounder this year and a 5th-rounder next year for Justin Tuck. So that's a new end to go alongside Robert Quinn and Aaron Donald. So that's cool. And then wide receiver was the only other one that I was considering trading. And we don't really need, like, Jalen Waddle anymore, because we have D-Jax, we have Julian Edelman, and these guys down the board, or down the depth chart, don't really even play. We rarely ever saw Jalen Waddle unless somebody got hurt. So Jalen Waddle probably has enough value to get us a pretty solid receiver and something else. We could probably go for that safety, because I could use another safety. So if we get kind of a 2nd to 3rd tier safety, maybe even a Devin Hester, that would be pretty fun. Devin Hester is the leading man in the leading man right now. Obviously, I've always wanted Steve Smith on this team, but we can't have all the fast guys. Got to have some big body targets as well. Michael Thomas. Right now, Devin Hester is the leading candidate. I'm not really sure who else. Tyreek Hill. Oh, Tyreek would be so fun to have. Tyreek would be so fun to have. Do they have a safety as well? A strong safety. They have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Damar Hamlin. Okay. So let's add Damar Hamlin and Tyreek Hill and see what we could get. That doesn't go through. Is this possible? Tyreek Hill would be so fun to have. And Tyreek would be a guy that I'd be willing to give up a 1st-round pick for. Let me throw my 1st-round pick next year. It's valued at the 24th. It doesn't. It's probably going to take both of our 1st-round picks. If that. Both 1st-round picks to get Tyreek on the squad. That doesn't even go through. So 2 1st-round picks plus Jalen Waddle doesn't even get it done. It would probably have to be a higher overall than Jalen Waddle. But Tyreek would be so fun to have. Hold on. Let me go to the Panthers and just see what the offers are. for Tyreek Hill. Nobody. There's nobody on my team that they want. That's very interesting. Maybe that's because if we trade for him straight up, then we don't have any cap room. I don't know if that's a bug or not. By what I'm saying is that we wouldn't have anybody that they'd want. But now that I see Tyreek, I mean, he would be so fun to have. And getting DeMar Hamlin would just be cool because he's DeMar Hamlin. But I'm only willing to give up Jalen Waddle. Am I right? I guess we could give up Deshaun Jackson because Tyreek could do the kick return stuff. I don't really want to give up Julio or Calvin Johnson. And I don't really want to give up Edelman. We need our slot guy, our everyday catcher. So I guess Deshaun Jackson is the guy? Oh, wow, that goes really crazy. So Deshaun is certainly up for a potential trade here, and it probably doesn't take much more than the 6th. Is this the deal that we do? I could probably send them back that safety that we'd have. Although Rodney McLeod's a 76 overall, DeMar is not that high of an overall. Is this a trade that we want to do? Obviously, bringing in Tyreek Hill would be fantastic. There's no question in that. But is Deshaun really... Do I really want to let go of Deshaun Jackson? Yeah, screw it. It's Tyreek Hill. Trade declined, but we can make it work here. We can throw in one of our 3rd round picks and take away this 6th. Trade decline. Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it'll take one of our 2nds, too. Trade decline. That's basically right there. Can I add the higher 3rd? I have the higher 3rd. This might go through. Trade offer is accepted. We send Deshaun Jackson to the Panthers along with a 2nd and a 3rd this year. We bring in Tyreek Hill and DeMar Hamlin. And I feel like that's enough trading for right now. I feel like we did a big job. Now we have 3 really amazing 99 receivers. And Tyreek's the 3rd one. That's crazy. Let me make sure that Adrian Peterson is back as the X Factor. I want to make sure that he's got the X Factor. And I want to make sure as well that Patrick Mahomes has his X Factor. So Julio will not have the X Factor. It will be Patrick Mahomes. All right. And he's got Gambit. Yep. Okay. I guess we could maybe get another guard and trade Kyle Long away. That could be interesting. Let's just see the waters on Kyle Long. He's a star development guard, which isn't bad by any means, but he kind of sticks out because we have we have superstars across the board except for him. So he's a pretty high value guy. What could we get back in return? We could get... There's a couple interesting options. Obviously, Zach Martin would be fantastic, but I don't think we have the cap space to bring him in. Jari Evans at $4 million. Is Jari interesting, or is Jari easy to get? Probably not. Shaq Mason, Marshall Yonda, Brandon Sheriff, Brandon Brooks, TJ Lang, David DeCastro, too expensive probably. Joe Tooney, Trey Turner, and Trey Smith are both kind of expensive. So the right guard spot is fairly expensive except for Jari. I wish that the Seahawks valued Kyle Long a little bit more. I think we'll just have to stick with what we have. I think I'm getting a little too crazy, a little too out of the box, a little bit insane. Oh, I didn't even trade one of the running backs. That's right. We have too many running backs now because I signed Matt Forte. So let's go to running back and trade. Let's trade CJ Spiller away because I did just bring in Matt Forte, so I don't want to get rid of him. And then a position, I guess we could use this trade for depth. I need a better backup safety. I know we just brought in DeMar Hamlin, but I want somebody that's higher than a 70-something as a backup. So we'll use this trade. Jesse Bates only 82. That's crazy. We'll use this trade right here just to kind of bring in some more depth. So who is a safety that's not super valued? Because I want to get more than just a safety. So we'll go for somebody that's not crazy valued. Maybe like a Jordan Fuller. Or a Jaquan Brisker, if he wasn't so low of an overall, would be perfect. Absolutely perfect for this. But he's not even over a 70-something overall, or 76. Kyle Duggar. Calvin Pryor. Landon Collins, Trey Boston, Tyvon Branch. Quandre Diggs. Kyle Hamilton would be cool, but I think he's too valued. Morgan Burnett. We could maybe bring in a guy like Morgan and then see what else they have. What other depth do we need? Probably an end. Do they have a defensive end that is not crazy? Ooh, they have Trayvon Walker. Okay. What about these two? These two guys aren't crazy valued, but Trayvon is a little expensive, so we probably have to throw something else in there. What do they want? Our wide receiver room is crazy good. All right, what do we? I should say what do we have that I could give them? Wusu Koromora, but I like the linebacking depth that we have. Our corners are really good. Malik Hooker, and then I guess we could send them back Rodney McLeod since we wouldn't really need him. And then we need to give up somebody else that makes no money, like this kicker. Is that a good trade? That trade is declined because it puts us over the salary cap, even though I have $630,000. Madden, you might be a little bit broken. Just a tiny bit broken. I don't understand what the dealio is there. What about Colin Johnson? Trade is declined because it puts us over the salary cap. It clearly doesn't, unless I'm thinking CJ Spiller must have some sort of... He must have some sort of contract thing where... Or one of these guys must have some sort of contract thing where the penalty puts us over the salary cap still. That's got to be the only thing. All right, so we will we'll go for somebody else then. We will go for somebody else. Darian Stewart, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Jordan Fuller. He's $3 million. Do they have an end that is good too? Brian Burns, too expensive. They have JJ Watt. Too expensive. They don't really have anybody. Isaiah Simmons, too expensive. David Harris, 81 overall. Darius Butler. They got some interesting players. What about David Harris? How's that? That's probably a little bit too much value. Maybe I can get back a pick. Oh, go back to the Raiders. Maybe I can get back a third-round pick as well. Trade declined. Okay. Maybe not a third-round pick. How about a fourth-round pick? Trade declined because it puts us over the salary cap. Whatever. Okay, so we're probably not going to be able to trade unless... Let me just throw CJ Spiller on the block. Maybe that'll just work. CJ Spiller on the block. We can't because his penalty must be too big. Let me go check the salaries. His penalty must be crazy if we can't trade him. So let me go to team salaries. Let me go to the running backs. CJ Spiller's penalty is 6. Yeah, so that's the reason why we couldn't trade him. Because if we traded him, our salary cap isn't high enough to eat that penalty. So that's okay. That makes sense. That makes sense why we couldn't trade him. We could trade a guy like Le'Veon Bell, but I want to keep Le'Veon Bell around. And we just brought in Matt Forte. So we'll have to work out what to do with CJ Spiller next season when the cap space resets and everything. Or if we end up getting more cap space at some point. I knew there had to be something why we couldn't trade him even though we had a little bit of cap space left. And it was because his penalty is a little bit too crazy. And somehow, oh, DeMar Hamlin gets an upgrade. Good for him. And somehow out of all of that, I was able to keep my first round pick. I'm not sure really how I did it. Who retired? A new retirement happened. It is James Carpenter. So I guess he didn't like what he saw in the free agency stuff and he decided to move on. Move on with his life. I don't know what this draft class looks like. I have no idea. I don't know if there's anybody good at all. But I think this team is a lot better. We got a new left tackle. We added Tyreek Hill. We got a new pass rusher in, what's his face? I forget his name. Was it Justin Tuck we traded for? I don't even remember. Yikes. I don't remember at all who we just got. We added another corner in Jonathan Jones. So that helps. I mean, you know how valuable our corners were last season. So, oh, good. I already, thank you, Pass Juice, for doing a favorites board. That helps me out a lot. Okay, so, ooh, I know why I put this guy on the board. Kari Griffin. Let me take a look at you again. Oh, Kari Griffin is a stud. I am totally putting him on the board. Okay, who else? I just got a lot of offensive tackles. There's not really anybody down here. I remember you for some reason. Why do I remember you? Tyquan Brackens. That name sounds super familiar. It's because you have elite speed. That is why. Tyquan Brackens is probably another guy that we're putting on the favorites board. Or not putting on the favorites board. Putting on the I want to know more about you board. What about this guy? Chantrell Robertson. He's a really good athlete, but his finesse moves aren't that great, but that doesn't really matter because he's a free safety. I want to know more about Chantrell Robertson, Tyquan Brackens, and then that tight end, Kari Griffin. Yeah, let me learn about those guys. Those should bring it up to 100%. That should be 100%, and those are probably the guys that we're going to get. At least that's what I'm going for. Let's get to the draft and see just how good those guys are going to be. I know that Kari Griffin is going to be fantastic. I just know it. So let's actually hold on. Before we start drafting, let me go quickly and see if those guys actually did get to 100%. So let's go to prospects. Let's go to favorites. Kari Griffin did get to 100%. He looks so good. His acceleration isn't great. He's a great blocker, pass blocker. He's got a spectacular catch, a catching in traffic. He's gonna be a stud. His physicals are amazing. He's a terrific athlete. Kari Griffin in the 2nd to 3rd round, he's my guy. He is my guy. But who is my 1st round pick? That is a big question. When do they have Tyquan Brackens going? They have him going in the 1st to 2nd round. We only got to 90%. He doesn't look as good as he does physically. He's a freak athlete, but he doesn't look that good technically. So that's a little bit interesting. And this guy's a top 5 talent. Chantrell Robertson. Oh yeah. Oh, he's a top 5 talent, that's for sure. Okay, so Chantrell, I need to take a look at the draft boards, the mock drafts. When do they have Chantrell going? Let me go to the mock draft 5. So, when do they have any of our guys going in the draft? Chantrell is down at 18. Very interesting. When do we pick? We pick at 32. They don't have anybody else going in the 1st round, which is good to know, but that doesn't always mean that they're not going to go in the 1st round. Chantrell, if we could trade up to around 15, 16, 17, jump ahead of the Jets and take Chantrell with our 1st round pick and then take in the 2nd round and go get the rest of those guys, I think we're going to have a really good draft. So let's pause the draft here. The Dolphins have the 1st pick. We can skip a little bit in the draft because they're not going to take Chantrell this high. So let's keep going a few picks. It's following the draft board as you would expect. I'll probably stop at around pick 10. Which is the Lions pick. Okay, so let's stop at pick 10. Now let's go next pick. Okay, let's stop here. Pick 11. And let's try to trade with the Eagles have 2 1st round picks. They're not going to need both of those 1st round picks. So, no, I don't want to go to the draft board. I don't want to go to the draft board. Let's go. Let's trade for their 2nd, 3rd, 1st round picks. So, hopefully it's not too hard to trade for. We'll go here, find the Eagles, ask for their pick. They don't need a safety, but we'll just trade up just to make sure. Pick 32. That is kind of close. I'll give you a 6 and a 4. We'll see what that does. No, that's nothing. Okay, so Eagles, 14 might be a little bit too hard to get. 20 is not high enough. Maybe we have to do tiered trade ups. I think the Ravens were one of them. The Ravens had a pick right there. Yeah, they have pick 15. Maybe pick 16? Who has pick 16? We got to get a higher than the Jets, that's for sure. And they have pick 18, so we don't have much room to wiggle around. Pick 16 is held by the Jaguars. Okay. Pick 16 is held by the Jaguars. You know what? I think we're going to have to try to do that tiered thing. So who has pick 22 or something? Oh, 24 might work. Pick 24 from the Raiders. That is a little bit easier to trade for. I'll throw in a 6 and a 4, and we'll see what that gets us. That almost gets us there. So maybe throwing in a 3rd next year helps us out. That trade gets it done. So now we have the 24th pick in the draft. And with the 24th pick in the draft, that might be a little bit more simple to trade up to get like pick 15 from the, who was that, the Ravens? Would they, they're not jumping back. What happened to my pick? Did I not put it down? Oh, it did the stupid thing. Madden, are you really this bad of a video game? Who am I asking? Of course they are. Trade center. Gotta go back and do it again. We do it all over. We do it live, ladies and gentlemen. We do it live. Draft picks, pick 24 to the Ravens. And the Ravens have pick 15. Please be fairly easy to get. Okay, that's a little bit more achievable, but we're running low on draft picks here. We are running low on draft picks. It's going to have to be my 3rd round pick. I didn't really want to give that up, but it's not even going to work there. So what about if I throw in my 6th as well? I don't really have the assets to give up for the 15th pick. What about the 17th pick? Who had the 17th pick? I don't remember. Who has pick 17? It is pick 16 is held by the Jaguars. We could try that. I bet 17 works. But I don't want to trade up to this pick and then he gets taken earlier. That'd be stupid. And I like how I said, oh, the Bucks had the 7th. I like how I said draft picks don't really matter that much, and I'm trying to trade up to get a really good player. So 17's still hard to get as well. It's going to have to probably be a 2nd round pick too, but there's another good player in the draft that I don't want to trade a 2nd round pick for. That's the only problem. So maybe we try to trade up for pick 20. You know what? I'm going to cut it until we have a decent pick that I feel comfortable with, so you guys don't have to sit here and watch all this because you're probably bored. So I'm going to go trade around, see what I can do, and I'll cut back to you when I feel confident we can get that guy. Okay, so I made trades. I traded up to get the 17th pick, so we jump 1 spot ahead of the Jets, who are supposed to be the ones taking that safety. I was able to keep my 2nd round pick. I had to trade away my 3rd round pick, but I was able to keep my 2nd round pick. So I think the 2 guys that we're going to go after are the safety and the tight end, and we will see what happens from there. But I couldn't trade anything else. I just didn't have the assets to be able to trade for anything else. So next pick, the Jaguars. Okay, so both the picks are available. We are certainly going to make our selection here and take the safety, Shanshaw Robertson. He just looks so good, and he's a top 5 talent. How could we pass up on him? He's got amazing physical stats. He's got great skills, man coverage. He can maybe even play corner. You never know. But we don't really need him to play corner. We're going to draft him. Only normal development. Kind of sucks. But in a series like this, it's not the worst thing in the world. He is really good. He's really good. And I'm hoping, since he's a top 5 talent, true talent, that he is one of the highest rated players in the draft. So now we're going to take that tight end, Kari Griffin, I think is what his name was, if he's available. I hope he is, because I have nothing left in the tank to trade up at all. So I hope he becomes available. We just got to keep our lookout for his name as we get towards the end of the... He was a 2nd to 3rd round talent, so he shouldn't go in the 1st round, and we have the 3rd pick in the 2nd round, so we should be good. Dylan Cooper, a few guards are going. There's a corner. Kyle Clifton, Justin Walford. All right, here we go. He survives. Awesome. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for, and as you can probably see, it was quick, but our next pick is in the 7th round because I had to trade away literally everything else. So let's go get Kari Griffin. He looks phenomenal. I traded away Blake Jarwin in one of the trades to trade up to get the 17th pick. So we do need a 3rd string tight end. He has hidden development, 89 speed, 87 acceleration, 87 agility. He's not a generational tight end by any means, but he's a very good tight end. He's a really good run blocker and a really good pass blocker, and he can catch the ball like crazy. So fantastic draft. Those are the 2 picks that we are going to have, and we will advance to our next user pick. I'm happy with the draft. Obviously, I wanted that linebacker, but I didn't have the assets to trade up and get him, and there's nobody on my team that I'd be willing to trade. So, yeah, we're going to draft Mr. Irrelevant. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't think we have anybody on the favorites board. No, we don't, so we're just going to have to take somebody. Who wants to be Mr. Irrelevant? Who wants to be Mr. Irrelevant? Anybody at all? Is there a really crazy good fullback available? Raekwon Fryer? Is he like crazy good? He's got great speed for a fullback. His stats look okay. He's horrible at pass blocking. If there's like a elite speed fullback, that could be pretty crazy. Great speed again. I'm just going to quickly go through these guys and see if there is a elite speed fullback. I hope there is, because that guy's getting taken. JT Hartwell, he has solid speed. I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there is going to be a single fullback. That one fullback that we just looked at might be Mr. Irrelevant. He might have to be. Yeah, everybody else has just kind of bad speed. We'll take a look at this guy because I didn't look at him yet. Riley Barkley, he had decent speed. Okay, so we're going to take, what's his name? Raekwon Fryer. He is going to be Mr. Irrelevant. Congratulations. We don't even see if he has hidden development. He probably doesn't. But, okay, so he does have normal. It showed me it. He's not good, but he's Mr. Irrelevant. He had okay stats, actually. He didn't have, like, the worst stats in the world. All right, let's take a look at our draft picks. 79 for Chantrell Robinson. I knew he was going to be high up there. It sucks he doesn't have normal, or he only has normal development, but he is he's a stud. And then Kari Griffin, he doesn't have the highest overall. I told you he wasn't going to be a generational by any means, but he looks pretty good. Plus, he's what, 6'6"? Is that what he is? Yeah, he's 6'6". This is David Njoku. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Chantrell looks really good as well. Was he one of the highest players in the draft? I would expect so. He's the highest player in the draft. Chantrell Robertson, the highest player in the draft. We took him. Look at the boys. So it may have taken my entire allotment of draft picks from this year and next year to get him, but he is there, and we can lay claim that we have drafted the highest overall player in the class, and we got him in 17. That's crazy. Now, I don't know if the Jets would have taken him. They probably would have. But I couldn't take that. I couldn't take that risk. I don't want to. Oh, Reggie Wayne for Jonathan Joseph. Whoa. Trade offers for Jonathan Joseph, who we just brought in free agency. Hold on. Titans are offering me Reggie Wayne. Oh man, he's got some value. Percy Harvin. We already traded with the Panthers. T.Y. Hilton. Zeke. Wow, Jonathan Joseph's got crazy. Steve Smith. And Jonathan Joseph's not even our highest rated corner by any means. Santonio Holmes, Stephon Diggs, and Jamison Williams and a 3rd round pick. Oh my God. I didn't realize that Jonathan Joseph had such crazy trade value. What does Jimmy Smith have? Now I'm going to go down the rabbit hole. I know this video is pretty long, but I need to see the rabbit hole here. What is Jimmy Smith's value? Because I'd be more willing to trade Jimmy Smith than I would be Jonathan Joseph, because we just brought Jonathan Joseph in. So what does Jimmy Smith have? Juju, Deontay. Man, Jimmy Smith's got some good value too. We could bring in some really good players here if we play our cards right. Wow, okay. I didn't realize that the level of value that these guys were having here. Now I'm very curious. What kind of value does a guy like Joe Hayden have? He's got to have even better value. There's Luke Kuechly. We don't really need a middle linebacker. There's Steve Smith. Oh my God. Marvin Harrison. Senior. Josh Gordon, Roddy White, Derrick Henry, Josh Norman, Reggie Wayne in a 2nd and a 3rd. Oh my God. I did not realize the value that we were holding here. We've got a lot of corners that we don't necessarily need. And Jonathan Joseph being the most expensive of the bunch, I know we just brought him in, but I'm kind of wanting to move on from him already. What about Jimmy Smith? Again, let me go back to the Jimmy Smith stuff. I know that what's his face, Steve Smith wasn't in the options, but if we could bring in Jimmy's got good value, don't get me wrong, but it's not as crazy as what I was looking at with Jonathan Joseph. We could get Captain Munnerlyn. Jimmy Smith for Captain Munnerlyn plus 2 for a 3rd and a 5th. I kind of like that, actually. You know what? Let's get crazy. Captain Munnerlyn, a 3rd and a 5th for Jimmy Smith. I don't know how good Captain Munnerlyn played last year, but he's now on the squad. He's a start of Emma just like Jimmy Smith was. 90 speed. 83 man, 88 zone. You know what? We got the captain on the team now. We got the captain on the team now. That's fun. That's real fun. And we got a 3rd and a 5th to go along with it, so that's pretty cool. Because I traded away all my picks, so a 3rd and a 5th was necessary. But now I'm curious, man. What kind of value? I mean, we don't necessarily need Malik Hooker anymore because he's off the board. And we brought in DeMar Hamlin, so we don't really need Rodney McLeod. What kind of value do these guys have? There's Jamison Williams, but we don't need a wide receiver. If we're going to get a wide receiver, it's going to have to be somebody that's like 99 or 98 to even compete. But Malik Hooker and Rodney McLeod have some interesting value, that's for sure. We could bring in some backup depth like a Zion Johnson. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Kobe Fleener. We don't really need a tight end anymore. I may have to make my own trade if I'm going to trade these guys. You know what? I will. I'll go off camera while I'm doing the preseason stuff, and I'll take a look around the league with some of those backups that we have, and maybe even some starters, and I'll just throw some feelers out there. And then for next episode, when we start season 2 with week 1 against the Commanders, because that's what it seems to be. Great, our rivals, the Commanders. I will let you know if I have any intriguing offers or intriguing trades to start that season. So, hope you guys enjoyed the offseason. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. As always, that's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.